Well, one thing leads to another when you're working around your house. Let me show you where the starting point was. Notice anything missing? My wood pile. My wood pile that has been my friend and my constant companion for the last 10 or 11 months. It's been laying back here ever since we worked on the ramp, whenever the lumber yard delivered all that lumber. But it's gone. I used a lot of it when I built that tool rack the other day for my garden implements, so that took care of a lot of it. Then I took some of the 4x4s that I had left over and I kind of used them as bases, and I just kind of made a lumber pile back here for my scraps. Some of these scraps are 16-foot long 2x4s, so they're valuable to me. I want to keep them, but I want to keep them up off the ground. I decided to bring all of my little scraps back here, but some of these boards over here were big enough to keep and do something with. But I had some scraps left over that were like this. They were just pieces of 4x4s. This was the railings and all for the porch, so I didn't want to throw them out, and I don't want to just use them to burn in a fire or something. So I thought I would make a little tic-tac-toe set that could be used outside on the carport when the kids were here, or up on tables or however. But I just thought, you know, I don't want to waste these little blocks. I want to make something out of them. And so I thought I would do this with them. So that's what I'm working on this afternoon if you want to watch me. So I'm kind of working against the sun going down again. I'm not getting started on this till later in the day because I spent the day planting seeds. I'm trying to live by what I told y'all the other day and plant seeds. So this tic-tac-toe set is an afterthought I'm doing this evening. I'm going to try to get it cut before the sun goes down. I'll try to get them sanded today, and then I'll take them inside and paint the X's and O's tonight if I have any paint. I don't even know if I have paint. If not, I will have to go pick up a little bit of enamel craft paint tomorrow and paint them tomorrow. Just going to do it simple and easy and one of those get her done type things. It's funny how you're trying to get rid of scraps of wood by making something useful out of them, and then you end up with that many more pieces of scrap wood off the scrap wood you cut. But these are definitely going into the burn pile. I'm not going to worry about making little blocks or anything like that with these. These are going in the burn pile. Now there's different ways you could do this. I could just go to my carport and I could paint some lines on the concrete. I could use a good little paint that it would just stay there for a while and make a little tic-tac-toe thing to where they could just sit on the concrete and play tic-tac-toe. Talking about my grandkids and stuff. You could even go to Walmart and get duct tape. They have all different colors and everything. And you could put a little pattern on the concrete that you could pick up later and throw in the garbage to make a little tic-tac-toe game board. But I'm just going to try something because I have all this scrap wood and because I need to do something with it. I don't want it sitting out here forever. To me, it's just attracting rodents and stuff. I want to get rid of it. Use it little by little on little projects, but get rid of it. So I'm going to actually make a game board to put it on. And I'm also going to use some of these 1x2s that I have left over from something. I have a lot of feet of those, and I'm going to use those too. It's hard for me to explain in my mind, and I'm running against the clock with the sun. So I'm just going to start cutting, and then when I go to put it together, I'll explain to you what I'm doing. So this is the little grid kind of I'm putting together for the top of the boards. I'm going to use these spare pieces around the edge to put underneath it to make just a little square platform that it'll sit on. It'll all be attached as one piece. But there again, that sun's going down. I need to get these bottom pieces kind of sanded so that I can make sure I don't need my saw anymore. And then if I don't need the saw anymore, I'm going to go put it up. And so I'm going to continue this video tomorrow to let you know how it's coming along. Well, hey everybody, it is Sunday, about the middle of the day. It's 66 degrees, which means I have a sweatshirt on because I'm about to freeze. We're not used to this. It's overcast and it's windy. I'm not gonna film a lot to where I have to talk or anything because I think this wind is gonna mess my audio up. But I wanted to show you where I'm at. I'm gonna start and try to finish this tic-tac-toe set here shortly. And we'll just see what happens. I'm kind of going as I can with what I've got. And I learned something yesterday, which I should have known, but it's making me make a change this morning. So let me show you. I was gonna use these little 1x2s to make a square around the bottom of this so that it could sit on a table or something and kind of be up off the table. But I should have known these things split so easy. So I pivoted and I went and got me some more 1x4 scraps, and I'm fixing to screw these on at either end. They'll be going across these 4 boards. I'll put 4 screws in there, maybe even a little more, to secure it. And that way it'll bring these 4 boards together on each end and make it very solid. Then I'll flip it over, and I'm still going to use these things to make my tic-tac-toe grid, but I'm going to use some little finishing nails and some wood glue that I have there so that I don't have to put screws through them. But I really want that look of that tic-tac-toe set on the top. So I'm going to get to work on that. This wind is kicking up, so I'll check back with you in a minute and let you know how I'm going. All right, I could skip a whole lot and tell you how great this went and how cute it turned out. But this thing is driving me crazy. These things are giving me more trouble than I thought. Well, everything is. I was going to put wood glue on the back of them. But of course, my wood glue is 150 years old and it's all gummed up. And to get it out, I actually had to spread it with a nail just to get it to spread on there. It wouldn't pour. So that was one problem. Then, while I was sitting there trying to do it with the nail, I flipped one of them off into the yard and landed in the leaves. So then I picked it up. Of course, the glue side fell straight down. So then I picked it up and I had leaves all over it. And I did my best to pick leaves off of it for 10 or 15 minutes. That was my next problem. I finally laid them on my board. I measured everything, got them perfect. I laid them there, and I was going to just tack them on with a finishing nail so that I could kind of let the glue set up, and then I'd put more nails in it later. Well, the finishing nails don't want to go in. Well, they go in, but they bend the minute you hit them. So they're junk. So I took forever to try to get them out. It's easy to get a nail out of a board with the little tines on your hammer, but not so easy when that board has glue on the other side of it and the nail doesn't want to come out and the board's not stuck yet. So then it's moving and my hand's on it, and so then I got glue all over my hands. So I just said forget it. I had glue all the way down here. I just took my sander and I'm sanding on it and the glue's coming off. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to paint me a crisscross design on here for the little tic-tac-toe blocks. I'm just going to paint one. Never be afraid to pivot just to get a project done. All right, I got all 10 blocks here and my little pad that I built for them to go on. But before I do any painting on them for the X's and O's or anything, I'm going to put some of this boiled linseed oil on it. I did this before. I actually made these kind of little blocks before for a baby shower, and we painted the baby's name on the blocks and the word baby on the other side of the blocks. And they were used as table decorations. We had other things in and amongst the blocks, but they were really cute. But I had wiped this boiled linseed oil on them for that, and they come out really good. They come out with just not a stain look to them, just a natural patina on them. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to just kind of give this a natural wood look. And with this wind going, I look for them to dry pretty quick this afternoon. I think I'll still be painting them this evening. I completed putting the boiled linseed oil on them. They'll lighten up a little bit after they dry, but this is them wet with the linseed oil. Well, there's my final product. I got it painted last night. I think it came out all right. I'm happy with it. It's just going to be a little cute game to sit outside and let the kids play with, and the adults when they come over. It's serving a purpose to me to get rid of some wood, but to not waste that wood, to do something with it. And this little wooden set here with all treated wood, it'll last for a long, long time. So the kids can pull it out. They can even bring it inside and play with it if they want to. But there's a bigger reason that I wanted to do this little set, and I'll tell you about it. The reason I had the inspiration to make the tic-tac-toe board in the first place was because my sister and I decided to have both sides of our family, her kids grandchild, son-in-law, my kids, grandchildren, son-in-law, to have them all over this Sunday for a fish fry. If you'll remember, a few months ago, me and my sister and her husband and my husband, we went on a little fishing day and we caught some really big catfish. Well, we've never eaten them yet. My sister and them filleted them and cut them up and put them in the freezer. And then we've been trying to kind of find a time when it wasn't 105 degrees to get together and have an outdoor cookout. Well, it's finally beautiful weather, beautiful October weather. So the other day we were talking and we decided, how about let's try this Sunday? And so it looks like it's all going to work out. I hope so. And another part of getting together Sunday, I kind of threw this out to my sister and she agreed to it, is we'd like to kind of have a family meeting. I'd like it to be not a group text, not a thing where she and I send word to different kids and then, get feedback and everything. Have everybody sitting together, maybe out on the carport with our mom will be there too. And we're all kind of spread out where we live. We're all kind of spread out, not huge wide distances or anything, but enough. One lives this way to the east, one lives to the south, my mom lives to the west, my sister's kind of in between me and my mom. Richard and I have moved a little north. So we're kind of spread out. And if something happens in this world that's a big situation, I'll just throw out, such as an EMP, such as a really bad terrorist attack, things like that, we want to talk about what we would maybe do to handle it. Now, I don't want this to be a deep, deep thing that'll scare the kids or anything. We're going to kind of have them doing things and playing and stuff, the little ones. And then I have a 15-year-old granddaughter who's old enough to hear some of this because they kind of need to understand. And she can listen if she wants to. But I think it's important to do this. If something happened right now, what would everybody's response be? And this is what's worrying me. And this is what I told my sister. Just say every phone goes out. All the electricity goes out. Even cars, may or may not start. I've heard different things. I've heard they won't start for a little bit, but then they probably will start later. I don't know, and I don't think any of us knows until it happens. What would the response be? Well, for our daughters and their families, I know the first response is going to be to get their children under their roof with them. That's complicated. It's complicated. And I don't know that our young people have sat around and really thought about it very much. But there needs to be a plan. Whether that plan is all involving me and my sister, that's not the point. The point is they can start talking about things like that. Who's going to make the move to get to the children, to get them home? How is that going to happen? What if this? What if that? Plan A, plan B, so that they'll know and they won't be panicking. I think the last thing you want to happen is for people to be double doing the work. Two people trying to fight through crowds and traffic to get to children who have already been picked up and are on their way home, but the other parent doesn't know that. I don't mean to throw these things out to scare people, but it's things we have to think about. I just feel like with a lot that's going on, you have to kind of run a lot of scenarios in front of yourself and say, what would I do? What would I do? Well, Richard and I are in a situation now where we're home a lot. We are on the road sometimes. We would be greatly affected by this. And believe me, with the lights go out and our freezers go out and things like that, it'll affect us, don't get me wrong. But I don't have little babies anymore who are my direct responsibility in daycare. I would do anything for my grandkids. That's all I talk about on this channel is the fact that's why I'm growing food and that's why I'm canning and that's why I'm doing things, because I want my grandbabies to be taken care of. I want my sister's grandchild to be taken care of. I'll do whatever it takes. But they're not my direct responsibility should something like this happen. It would be silly for me to go 40 miles to try to get to them in a crisis situation when their parents are a lot closer and would definitely be trying to get to them. So they have to have kind of a plan of action of how they would handle it. And then when that levels out, when kids are picked up or kids are safe, you've gotten your children, or hopefully they're home, they could be home, then another little wave will kind of set in. And that's the fact that they might want to get out of the town where they live, out of town into the country. They might want to get to us. Well, that's where we come in. That's where we come in. we have to, I know our kids know they're welcome here. One of our kids still lives with us. I know they know that, but I want to actually say out loud, y'all come. Should you need to, y'all come. This is where this is located. This is where this is located. If you need it, come. If Richard and I happen to not be here because we got caught up in it, it doesn't matter. You can still come in our house. You're welcome. Come. That's what I want to kind of get across to them. I want to kind of let them know what our plan might be too. I live closer to my niece than my sister does. So I want them to know, if y'all need to come here first, into the country a little bit first, and until things settle down a little bit, then make it to your mom's or whatever. I just kind of want everything that we need to say to each other to be said out loud at a little family meeting. And I encourage everybody to kind of have this on your mind. I know you can watch lots of videos and people tell you what to have in your backpacks, your go bags, and what to put in your car, and on and on and on. But you really need the game plan of what if? What if it happened right this moment? Where's my family right now? Where's my family? Okay, what would I do? I think there's things that we could do in our family, maybe to even involve others who aren't all necessarily involved right now when I'm talking about my immediate family. For instance, my grandkids go to a preschool that's nearer to other relatives than those that might be on their pickup list. I'm on their pickup list. My husband and I can pick them up. But in this type of situation, we're a lot farther away than a couple of other of our relatives. Maybe my daughter and them could add those relatives to the pickup list. Sometimes schools, I know when my kids were in school, because of the way the secretaries have to input information and all, they would limit you to say 5 people. That's all you could put on your pickup list was 5 people. And of course, by the time you put the mom and the dad and, a few grandparents, you're done. Well, I think you could ask them to make an exception, or at least to keep on file some extra names, some names of an uncle or an aunt or somebody that might live a lot closer to that daycare. And maybe you could talk to that aunt and uncle and say, should this happen, can you walk over there and get them? Can you ride your golf cart really quick and go get them? Can that be our plan A? And then we will know when we pass by there, we'll check to see if they're still there or not. We'll check. But if they've been picked up by you, we'll know they're okay, and we're going to get to your house shortly. We'll get there as soon as we can get there. That occurs to me in our situation because that's how it is with our grandkids. Maybe that's the way it is with yours too, and you haven't really thought about it. You've just thought, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, who can get there the quickest? Well, think kind of outside of the box, because there may be a truly good relative or a truly good friend of yours that when you stop and think about it, geographically, they may live a lot closer. And talk to them and see if they would mind being on that list, and see if they would mind if something happened just going to that daycare or that preschool or that school, could even be a school, and say, would you mind running there as quick as possible if something happens, because you're in walking distance, you're in a bike ride distance, you're in a golf cart distance. Would you mind doing that for us, so that we will have peace of mind knowing that somebody might be getting to our child before we get there? And that's just one solution I thought of. There's so many things to think about. This isn't a video to scare anybody or anything like that. You've heard it all before. It's just that now may be the time to ratchet it up a notch and do the things that you have thought you might need to do, or you've done, but maybe you need to do again. Like, for instance, gas in spare gas tanks. I've done that many times before. I've made sure I had gas in my car gas tank and kind of only let it get to halfway and then fill it right back up again. After a while, though, you just kind of get complacent and you let it go down to empty. And you might need to just start thinking in your mind again, I better keep that tank on full. Another is just your gas cans like you'd use for your lawnmower. If you have extras, it might be a good time to just go ahead and fill them up. The risk you run might be that you don't need them at all, and that the gas might be bad by next spring. But I think it's just a risk worth taking. right now at this moment. I think it's a risk worth taking. I say all this, and I don't say it to scare you. Everybody has their sources that they trust. I have personally just narrowed down the sources I do trust. There's 3, 4, 5 sources that I go to. For a lot of them mix in financial information, but with outlooks on things. And their outlooks on things through the years that I've listened to them have come forward and been true. And just uncanny the way things they said 3 years ago are playing out now. And everybody told them 3 years ago they were a little loop-de-loop and they were way ahead of their time and it was just not going to happen. And now all of it's playing out. And I'm glad that I do feel like I have trusted sources, that I can count on their word. I don't think they're trying to manipulate me. They're not trying to sell me anything. They don't really have a dog in the hunt except to try to warn people about it. They have plenty of money. They have plenty of things prepped and prepared, but they still do videos all the time and they still are trying to make people understand what is happening. And several of them concur, well, about 3 of them all seem to concur that this is a culmination that has been prepared for us and is going to unfold for us, whether we like it or not, and that the end of this month, all of November, pretty much all of December or so to around Christmas is supposed to be not a great time. They referred to it as bleak. They say don't be afraid though, because this is actually the unwinding of a lot of things that have bound us into this kind of slavery they kind of have us in now, and that it's going to be the unbinding of a lot of that. A lot of these power structures that have sought to enslave us, our own government kind of doing that in a lot of ways, are going to be unbound a little bit. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that happening, but it's a painful process. And while I feel like I can endure a whole lot if I need to, I don't want my grandkids suffering any more than they have to. I don't think this is a situation where I'm just say, well, these kids need to learn how the world really is. No, as much as we can shield them from this evil, I'll shield them from this evil. And if I can work hard and do things, I will work hard and do things to make sure they're shielded from it as much as possible. But in the beginning of a bad situation, in the beginning of a bad end of October, all of November, most of December, I think our family needs to talk. We need to talk. We need to sit down. It's already towards the end of October by the time we're going to get together Sunday. So we need to talk and we need to say, what if? If this happens, what if? If this happens, this is where I hide the key. This is where this might be. This is where extra this is. And I want people to know, and I want them to know they're free to come here. And I'm sure my sister's going to say the same thing. And then what about our mom? She lives more towards population. What about her? Who's going to try to get to her first, get her here, get her to our sisters here, wherever she's going to be. Where is she going to be? Let's talk about it. That's what I'm saying. All these little details that we need to discuss, we need to discuss. And we've decided we're going to try to do it Sunday, in as much as we can. Not trying to scare anybody, just trying to say, let's be open about it and let's talk about it. I would recommend that you all do the same thing. I'm going to try to lighten the mood by having the little tic-tac-toe out there. I think the kids will like it. They can take it off the table and put it on the ground and play with it if they want to. We're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy our day and enjoy our fish and shrimp. My sister's bringing shrimp. We're going to enjoy all that. But before they leave at some point, we're going to talk. And that's the way we're just kind of choosing to handle this situation we all find ourselves in. And this stress that we feel is kind of like getting on our shoulders. It's like, how do you handle it? You do things. I've been doing a lot of things around my property. I've been taking care of a lot of loose ends that I wasn't taking care of when it was so hot. That's helping me with stress. Building this little tic-tac-toe game, just so they'll have something fun when they come over. Oh, Aunt Lainey, that's cute. I saw it on your video. You know, they can just enjoy it. It's just for fun. But the main thing is, it's because we're all coming together to break bread together, but to also make a plan so that we're not all panicky if something does happen, and we're not all freaking out. And maybe we can set up a little, you know how at church sometimes you set up little trees where you call one person, they call two people, and this other person calls a two, you know, and next thing you know, everybody in your committee's been called. We might need to kind of set up something like that we can write on paper, or they'll probably type it in their phones or whatever, but we'll figure it out. And that way, that little tree might work, and it might come in to play should we end up with cell phone service during parts of the day, or sometimes, or at some point. Here's how it might work. You know, that's what we want to talk about. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. I hope you kind of enjoyed the little tic-tac-toe board I built. Maybe you could do that with some scraps of 4x4s you have, or scraps of anything. You could use anything to make it with. I hope you've enjoyed it, but I also wanted to just kind of stress, maybe get your family together, maybe talk. Maybe that'll take some of those bricks off of everybody's back if you actually have communication and you actually work out a plan that may or may not work, but at least having a plan is better than no plan at all. Thank y'all so much, and I hope y'all have a great rest of the month, all of November and all of December. I hope it's wonderful for everybody. I really do. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.